it is not only a question of history in the textbooks, it is part of the imbibed heritage which even a non-school going kid in this country has inherited. So I don't think that every time somebody like Mr. Sangeet Som comes out with these stupidities, inanities about Indian history, we have to respond to it. Part of it is the love story. Part of it is the love story of an emperor who loved his wife, who died in childbirth. She was buried far away from where he was ruling, and the body was exhumed and brought here. He wanted to have an exquisite memorial for her. But it is not the story of just Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal and one mausoleum. It is a culmination of an architectural evolution. You would say that Humayun ka Maqbara in Delhi is a prototype. You go to Mandu and you say Hosham Shah ka Maqbara is a prototype. You have the bulbous half onion-like dome. You have exquisite white marble. You have minarets tapering. You have the charbagh of the Persian architecture. So many streams of Indo-Saracenic art come together, which you might call Hindu-Islamic synthesis of architecture. I think it would be an extremely stupid person, totally ignorant of either English language or history, to call Mughals barbaric. Mughals came to India as a nomadic people, not particularly civilized. Babur, after all, belonged to a small principality of Fargana, was chased out by his Uzbek uncle, came to India. But once they struck root here, they became inheritors to the great Sultanate period. Before the Mughals, the Muslims, the Mamluks, the Khiljis, the Tughlaqs, the Sayyids ruled. I mean, here we are sitting in the Lodi garden. They also consciously, in days like Akbar and Shah Jahan, tried to have a fusion of what was local. They married with local Rajput princesses, and they were as civilized as anybody can claim to be. Look, you see, why should we try to judge the Mughals in the terms of benchmarking them according to 21st century secularism, democracy, etc. Of course, Akbar is supposed to be a very tolerant person, but Akbar also demolished Jain temples where Fatehpur Sikri was built. Akbar also attacked Chittor and sacked Chittor in a manner as cruel as Alauddin Khilji's. But Akbar was an empire builder. Why do we expect him to have a ahimsak warfare and get rid of his enemies or have a conversion of heart? But the same Akbar, who was a victorious conqueror, also was a person who wanted to establish Din-e-Ilahi, Sulh-e-Kul, and wanted to bring different religions and different artistic crafts tradition in Fatehpur Sikri. I think the greatest apostle of peace, Ashok, is remembered as the person who made a river of blood flow in Chandrabhaga and Daya in Kalinga. And the destruction of Kalinga is one of the most genocidal destructions of an empire. But no empire can be built without bloodshed. All great conquerors have to kill people. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that a politician can change the narrative of history. People have talked about Taj Mahal disparagingly even before. Sahir said the Shahenshah ne daulat ka sahara lekar hum garibon ki mohabbat ka udaya hai mazak. And for the Nobel laureate Tagore, it was a teardrop frozen on the cheek of history, eternity. So fine, people have talked of Taj Mahal differently, romantically, with angst. So this will also pass. Our food, whether it is a pulao, whether it is a kebab, is an inheritance of that period. Shalwar, kameez, pajama, kurta, whatever we are wearing is that period. The greatest example is Dhrupad. The music which comes from Vedic times is preserved 19-20 unbroken centuries by a Muslim family of the Dagars. So if the Sam Ved Gayan in Dhrupad territory is preserved because of a Muslim family, you have poetry of Ras Khan, you have poetry of Rahim, you have poetry of Kabir. And how do you separate that this is Muslim inheritance and this is Hindu inheritance, this is pre-Muslim? Muslims were trading even in pre-Islamic conversion times. The Arabs were coming to India, to Malabar coast, and they have impacted on our food, our buildings, our costume is ours.